Joystick Show.
How's it, Shticklers? The Joystick Show is back to talk story about things we've read, watched, or played. Shakas and Mahals for sticking around. If you fancy what you hear, please like and subscribe on the platform you frequent. I'm your co-host Drake. That's Thomas.
What up, what up?
And that's Scott.
How's it?
And welcome to episode 133 of the Joystick Show. Scott, could you give all of our guests, viewers, and listeners a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today night?
Oh, yeah, of course. So we have some trailers to hit up. We got about 3 trailers. Acolyte.
What?
New trailer drop. It's called The Acolyte.
Oh, sick.
Acolyte. Acolyte. You can say it however you want.
I don't think you can. I think there's a right way to say it.
I think that's how this word is. You can just say it every which way.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow.
Cool.
The Crow Reboot.
Okay.
Got that coming up. Furiosa.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all the trailers. And we got some news we're hitting up. You'll hear that when we get there. And then we got some reviews.
Because it's not news if you already say it. All right.
Yeah, if I say the headline, you know the news. So just wait. And then we got some reviews. We got some Ricky Stanicky, Invincible Part 2, Episode 5. It's back, baby. We got Shogun, the newest episode, or wherever we are at the moment.
5.
And then we got some Spaceman and Damsel.
Damn.
It's a pretty loaded episode. So make sure you tune in for all of it.
Do it.
Pretty good. Oh my god. All right, so Acolyte, however you want to say it according to Scott. We watched it today. It dropped today. Drake and I got to do a quick, I'm calling it the quick shtick reactions.
Oh, quick stick.
So, yeah, whatever.
I like that.
Yeah.
You do?
It's catchy.
Oh, okay. Well, we did a quick shtick reaction for the Acolyte.
Oh, I like it.
I give it a good, but not good.
Yeah, we got close. But we did a great reaction to it earlier. That's on YouTube now. Scott, we didn't get to hear from you. Were you able to watch this trailer?
I was, and it looks awesome.
You was?
I was able to.
Oh, okay.
And I did watch it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it looks good.
Them eyes be wildin'. This guy's wildin' today.
Exactly.
A lot of eye blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to snap just now, but it wouldn't have made sense. So
With your fingers?
now I got it.
Or just like psychotic.
For the people at home, they can't hear me snap.
But he's not
But
snapping.
you'll hear it when you listen to it.
You won't.
They don't believe I'm snapping.
Because he's not.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you thought about the Acolyte.
So Acolyte,
Yeah.
it was cool. Lot of different color lightsabers. Pretty awesome.
Moving on.
Okay.
You guys probably did a much better breakdown of the history and where it takes place in the timeline, and I don't know
100
as
to
much
200
as you
years
guys-
before the prequels.
Yeah, I just know it's in the past, and the younglings.
Yes.
Not all of them are gonna make it. That is for sure. But we see them training. We see a Sith red lightsaber mowing down some trees.
Mowing them
So
down.
I think.
Mowing them down. And then
World War Z callback.
yeah. And then you see a line of Jedi's different colors, and then they all get blown back by Sith air push. It was pretty awesome. So
Sith Airpuss?
push.
Oh.
push.
Get your mind
Whoa.
I'm sorry. You're saying all kind of things weird today.
Yeah,
All right.
sorry. It was a little silly. Overall, it was a cool trailer. I want to check it out when it comes out for sure.
June 4th.
It looks. What was that?
June 4th?
June 4th. It's awesome. I don't know.
I think that's when it comes out, right?
What are we
Is that
doing?
what comes out?
What are we doing?
I don't know. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Sorry.
I feel like this is just one giant bit already, but yeah, it looks incredible. Again, we
Yeah.
got something on YouTube. Man, we've already said it. The cast, I think, is the greatest thing I feel like for me in the trailer, and also the set. We learned a new word today, Drake. What was it?
It was scenography.
Scenography.
Yep.
That's right. And so I think the scenography of it all is really cool, where it's the set, the costuming, the whole look of it all looks really dope. Man, I just like I knew it was gonna be good because I saw a leak on Reddit. Shout out to Reddit. Drake knows.
I know.
And but I saw a leak like a couple months back, and I was like, damn, this looks really good. I saw some yellow lightsabers, but I wasn't prepared for how good this trailer was gonna be. And like the talent in it is like Lee J. Parker, late J. Jung, I think,
Lee
from Squid
Jung-jae.
Games. Lee Jung Jae. He's like, dude, he's so good in it already. From like the little bit I've seen, I'm just seeing how like confident, stoic, and like he just really comes across as a Jedi master to me. I'm stoked about that. Carrie Ann Moss, I want to say.
Yep.
She's a beast. And then they have like low key just throwing it in there, like Daphne Keane in face paint and like a white wig. And it's like, damn, this cast is pretty stellar. So fuck, I can't wait for June. June's gonna be insane.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, moving on to the next trailer. We got the Crow reboot. Right? We know that Brandon Lee, son of Bruce Lee, unfortunately passed away when this movie was filming the original version, I think in the 90s. Which is like so crazy to think about that, you know, it was supposed to be like a fake gun that had a real bullet. Like what we just saw that happened to Alex Baldwin. Yeah. Brutal, right?
Right.
It's just, that's crazy to think about. No jokes there, unless you got one.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't.
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate. I don't joke about that.
Okay.
But to jump right into it, Bill Skarsgård, he looks like crazy jacked for this. Yeah, he's like he looks like his other brother, the one that's known to be the jacked one.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
What is that guy going for him now?
Stellan? No, Stellan's the dad, right?
Yeah, Stellan's the dad.
Yeah, the one that was in True Blood. He's like,
and the Northman. He was like ridiculously jacked in the Northman.
Yeah.
That
I didn't
brother,
realize how kind of tall this guy was too. Like I saw a picture of them next to each other. I'm like, guy, like he got taller since it. I feel like,
right? Yeah, because he doesn't look that tall in it, and his brothers look super tall. So he looks like the short one, but he still looks like he's like 6'2", because the other Skarsgård brothers are like 6'4", 6'5", I think.
Yeah, so I guess they're all
giants.
Yeah, they're all giant people.
Yeah,
but he looks awesome in this movie. Like I mean, this trailer so far,
he does.
Oh, I think Skarsgård definitely has the eyeballs for the Crow. He looks good in the makeup. Obviously, he's ripped. He looks like he can wash clothes on his stomach. I think with this, like today's technology, they can do a lot more with the Crow. But the Crow in itself, because of Brandon Lee and kind of what that movie was at the time, is very cult classic, very special in the hearts of many. I think that they will do a good job, hopefully, in honoring Brandon Lee and the original IP. And I think Skarsgård as an actor, especially in that kind of like spooky but dramatic type role, is going to do well. So high hopes for it, and also too, it's cool to see something like The Crow coming back.
Yeah, it's true. I'm excited to see what they do with it. It's just interesting to me, like what's up with just like immortal people just like wrecking other people. Like what's so like fascinating is like that's Deadpool, that's Wolverine,
Ghost Rider,
the Crow,
Spawn,
Ghost Rider, Spawn. Yeah, like all these people. Like what's like why is that such like an appeal? I'm not like poo pooing it. I'm just like genuinely asking.
I think
I think like it's satisfying to see. Well, because you assume that the guy doing this is a good guy going into bad guy territory. And just being unstoppable.
Revenge.
Right? And then it's like, I guess it's kind of like when we watched, again, another guy, Luke Cage, when Luke Cage was on Netflix, and he just goes into that like that den of like all those like, I guess, drug dealers or whatnot. And he's just like walking through, guns are blazing. And he's just like taking them all out. It's like just doing the thing you'd like wish you could I'm just going to go in there and clean up. Right. Like, and no one can stop it.
Yeah.
The only thing is that like he doesn't have impenetrable skin. So like he gets shot and then he's like, ugh. And then they're like, is he dead? And he's like, God! And he just has like a sword. Like, what they shoot him in the face? How many times can he take that? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a part in the trailer too where it kind of looks like his blood is black,
He's got
which I don't know. Yeah, blood black. But like it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing that I thought
Yeah, it
about when I
is.
was watching the trailer. But he looks great for the role. I'm on board with it. It looks crazy. He also has like that other movie that's coming out, like The Killing Boy.
Oh yeah,
too,
yeah.
where it looks
Yeah.
very similar. Like it looks like he just got jacked and then just stayed jacked for a year to do both of these movies.
Yeah.
That'd be smart though. So just get these back to back because I want to eat food again.
right. I know. He's like, I probably want to eat something else besides boiled chicken and rice.
Yeah,
Or like, and boiled broccoli. I don't
I want to
know.
get hydrated.
yeah,
Yeah.
Staying dehydrated all the time.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're like, call the Skarsgård out. He's got to come out of the sauna. We need him on set.
Yeah.
We need him sweaty and ripped. But yeah, it looks good. I'm on board with it.
Or so, would you say that you're more excited to see Skarsgård in The Crow, or are you more excited to see Anna Taylor-Joy as a young Furiosa?
Good
Question.
segue. And I'm gonna have to go with Furiosa.
Me too.
We like the
Nothing
ATJ,
against Skarsgård. He's good.
but
I just
Nah, he sucks.
think the Crow itself. I didn't really watch the original Crow, so like this seems like kind of cool movie. But Furiosa, we were familiar with Mad Max. We got that last one with Tom Hardy. It's gonna be a prequel, and Anya like looks
good.
like a young Charlize Theron. Like it's like when I
Yeah.
saw her in the role, I was like, it makes sense for her to get older and become Charlize Theron, in this world.
Totally.
You know,
After
so-
watching the last trailer and then now this one, like the end where she shaves up all her hair and she paints her head black, you're like, yeah, that looks like Charlize.
Yeah,
And it was funny though, the comments that Charlize Theron gave, because they were like, oh, did they ask you if you were gonna be in the new Furiosa? And she's like, no, nobody asked me. And people were like, oh, it's gonna suck and all that. But then you watch the trailer and you're like, this is literally just a prequel to Mad Max, and
Yeah.
it looks pretty damn good. Like very much the same. It seems like they hit the score for me, or like the sound effects. I think in the original was what really hit home for me. And it
Mhm.
feels like it's coming back. Like even in the trailer, that engine where you can just hear like the engine getting put into gear. It's just
Yeah.
like, fuck, that sounds tough. So yeah, I'm on board.
It's good.
Yeah, this one looks like I definitely want to see this in theaters.
Oh yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be a whole
You want
experience.
that Dolby
Part of
surround.
me wants to see it, or maybe at least once in like 4D. I wonder if the chair's just gonna be rumbling like the whole
You have
movie.
sand being
Like-
spit in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I wonder if it's gonna be, worse or better than Dune.
Yeah.
Like to our friends that watched it in 4DX and Dune, were they just like taking sand out of everywhere by the end of it, or
No, I think it was just like random air types of. There wasn't any sand, luckily. But he said there were parts where it would rumble, and he's like, "All right, this is a bit much." Like,
He's
it's kind of cool, but then you're like, "All right, okay." It's like really
Yeah.
going to town. He said the trailers were nuts, actually, more nuts than the movie itself.
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah, I can imagine as this trailer comes up, and if you're seeing a movie in 4DX that has this in front of it, God help my back. I'm gonna have to have 2 extra strength Tylenols after the movie,
Yeah.
because this looks wild too. But she looks good, and it looks like we see where she comes from. I didn't know that in the Mad Max world that there was any place left that had green things, or that was paradise or whatever.
Oh,
So I guess I'm kind of interested to see what that looks like too.
yeah,
Mm.
kind of like a Badlands, Borderlands type feel. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting too to see ATJ in more violence, action heavy rage situation. I don't know that she's been in a super lot of things like that, so it's going to be
Mhm.
interesting to see her range and
Yeah.
what she can bring to the character.
The menu, but she didn't really.
Uh,
Yeah, the menu, but
she
I don't
went
know.
off a little bit
This
in the
is
chess
different.
situation, and then she kind of did a little bit of it in New Mutants, but this is way different.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
true.
Yeah, this would be
Totally.
interesting as like a. This is probably action heavy too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like,
You know-
it really does feel like a graphic novel
Oh.
type of way, like shot.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
Totally.
I was thinking about
Frank
that, like
Miller.
Chris Hemsworth. I'm like, he Like,
thank you. Okay, I'm glad we're finally at Chris Hemsworth because I think he's the biggest draw for me in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Because we've never really seen him be a villain. He had that like whatever mind sweeper or spider, whatever mind. I don't remember what it was called. It was on Netflix
Yeah.
with Miles Teller. But he looks like he's trying to be really crazy in this.
yeah,
And he put on some prosthetics. So I want to see like Chris Hemsworth getting wild and you know, like just crazy. So yeah, he looks interesting. And he's got like, is he a redhead in it? I don't know why that was the choice, but I'm for it. You know,
Ginger
Yeah, for
Hemsworth,
sure.
duh.
yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it's gonna be really fun. Definitely a freaking popcorn and drink kind of movie. Maybe don't watch it in 4D if you want to drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of your popcorn is going to get blown away.
Yeah. more popcorn.
All right. So I think that brings us into the news section. We got some quick news we're just going to run through real fast. All of the Sony Spider-Man movies are coming back to theaters. I think there's 8 of them. Does this interest you guys at all?
I mean, it's cool. I think if I had the time and the money to just watch them all the way through, and it was like a slumber party, and I had my friends there, and we were all talking Spider-Man, and we dressed up, and maybe we had some toys we could play with, that'd be tight. But I don't know if I'm gonna go because I got stuff.
Yeah, if this came out back in college or high school or something during the summer, and we're just like we're barely working right now, like that'd be sick. But I mean, it's still cool.
Yeah,
I just don't know. It'd be a really tight window for me to be like, I'm gonna go watch it. But that's pretty awesome that that's available.
Yeah, hopefully it'll.
Because there are people who haven't seen it, seen some of these movies in theaters.
Yeah.
We got the luxury of seeing all of the theaters once.
Yeah,
before,
except for the Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't try to go see those in theater.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, I was the one, that everybody was pointing out. It's like, you never supported him when he had his own movie, and it's true. I didn't. I thought he was a great Spider-Man, terrible Peter Parker, but
it's fair.
I can't. I'm trying to think of any of those movies I would even go to see. Maybe
OG
Toby Spider-Man 2.
Oh, no, numero dos. Interesting.
Oh, with Doc Ock. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ones. And maybe Spider-Man 3 just to see if it holds up.
I'd probably watch the first trilogy though, because even the first 3, I think, were just more fun watches.
They were, and it was like the first time we had anything like that.
Yeah.
We had the Fox X-Men movies, but it was like first time really seeing like a Spider-Man done right, like true to the origin, like Kirsten Dunst at that time with the upside down kiss in the rain.
Oh yeah,
waterboarding.
Just all the water going in my nose upside down.
Yeah, I do think about that.
Scene of film. Yeah,
that's true. He probably was getting waterboarded, right?
Yeah,
God,
for sure.
I would. It's probably well worth it. Yeah, that's probably it though. All right, what's next? We have Aaron Taylor Johnson is reported to have been offered the role of 007. Are you guys?
Okay.
Sky.
Yeah, I was like, where are we going with this one? Is it the GoldenEye theme song? Is it the live action stuff? I think it's a great choice. My dad's a massive 007 fan, and because of that, I think it's passed on to me a little bit. I liked a lot of Daniel Craig's movies. I didn't love all of them, but I thought he was an incredible 007. I know people, want to go back to like Sean Connery or I don't know,
Pierce Brosnan.
I think Pierce Brosnan. One,
oh yeah,
someone else
that's
too.
one when we were kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a great choice. The dude's a solid actor. He's been like coming up ever since Kick-Ass. Like he's been doing action stuff, and he's kind of taken on, I guess, more mature roles. So I think it's a good choice. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on him taking over?
What does your dad think?
I have not asked him yet. Dad, if you're listening, write a review.
Please
And
like and subscribe.
Yeah, I should ask Christine and her folks too, because they're like, I think they watch.
They're connoisseurs.
That's one of those movies they'd like get on repeat every once in a while. They would like the next year they
like
tune
when
in again to
TNT was doing
rewatch
like a run of all the
Yeah.
007
yeah, and then
movies.
it's like,
They're
oh, we're gonna
this is
tune
what
in,
we're
yeah,
doing today.
sort of thing. So, I wasn't ever like super invested in 007. It's cool. The games were fun, or the game was fun and stuff. But I don't know. I personally haven't really seen him in like something that tells me he's like this character.
The Bullet
But-
Train?
Bullet Train, yeah.
Yeah. With Brad Pitt?
I mean, Quicksilver was pretty 007 like.
Yeah. Speedy.
Because that's the thing. I keep thinking Quicksilver and Kick-Ass, but I forgot he's in Bullet Train. He did a good job. Yeah, sure, why not?
I think it'll depend on the
Scott
story.
Sold?
It'll depend on the stories because,
Yeah.
like Tom said, Daniel Craig did a great job as being 007, but some of the stories were kind of like so outlandish. And so I compared to Mission Impossible. We've had a lot of Mission Impossibles, and Tug Speedman has done a bunch of these, right? And so when we
Sounds like a
It's a
made-up name.
deep cut.
and
That's
so
a deep Tom Cruise cut.
deep Tom Cruise cut. But the stories are relatively consistent. The characters are consistent, whereas 007 seems kind of like a new thing every single time. They carry over some things. So it's really going to be, how do they do the handoff? What new story are they going to bring in? Because 007 is typically main villain, crazy action, beautiful mistress person. So
Yeah.
how are they going to continue that?
Story should be he's a hunter,
Yeah.
and he's trying to hunt Spider-Man. And,
Yeah. And his mom disappeared while she was researching spiders in the Amazon.
Yeah.
yeah.
And his uncle died trying to save pennies.
It's like, it's kind of Craven the Hunter. It's kind of
yeah. He's like, damn, what's the saying? I blew it. Whatever the Quicksilver saying was, like, you didn't see
Catch
that
if you
coming.
can. Oh,
Yeah, you didn't see that coming. That'd be great. They got to throw that in there.
Okay.
ATJ. Well, yeah, we'll see what he does. I mean, we don't even know if he's been offered, but that has been heavily rumored right now
Yeah.
around the
Okay.
internet.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Bear has been, not only is it filming season 3, but they have also confirmed season 4.
Ooh.
I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but I'm obviously massively excited. That was my number one show last year. It's probably going to be again.
yeah. I'm so invested in this.
My interest is going to be how in the restaurant world, in terms of how it comes up or how you come up, you start off at the bottom and you work your way up, and then you go through all these phases and these ebbs and flows. I'm interested to see what.
It's weird that you're saying that
Yeah.
as Drake, because all I could think of started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Hey.
I was like, just like Drake. And I
Yeah,
was like,
dude,
you're
that's-
saying it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
My name is also
It's too
Drake,
meta.
so it's the same.
exactly.
And so because he started a restaurant, he's looking for kind of that clout. He's working within the confines of his family and the restaurant industry in that city. And so the next tier up from when you become a head chef and when you become a chef de cuisine, and you're running all of these things as like an executive chef, and things are going good, the next step above that would be like restaurateur. How am I going to open up multiple restaurants and then essentially move away from quote unquote cooking and being more of a manager restaurateur who's controlling like an empire of things? That's probably not where this is going to go, but it is going to be interesting to see what steps they take towards that career growth within the Bear as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could see it going that way though, because there was a little bit of a time jump from season 1 to season 2.
Mm.
So and then all of a sudden it was like, boom, they're like creating this, not just restaurant, but like a top fine dining restaurant. So it's like, I could see them going that way. And it just has to come back around to Carm dealing with whatever trauma that he hasn't resolved yet.
Mm.
So if there's a way for him to be like, oh, well, I have to manage all these people and I'm doing this at such a high level, but I'm still kind of a shit person, then I think there's a lot of story there. And what I really liked about what they did last season was they found all these other, you could call them side characters at the time. Now they all had their own little episodes where they focused on them.
Spin-offs.
Like going, dude, yeah, we're going even more into their stories would be awesome. Ayo Adabiri being more of a star now, like there's so much more they could do with her. Eben Moss Blackrock being more of a star now, like he's gonna probably pop off on a few episodes. Like, dude, there's so much they could do with this show for a long time, as long as they keep finding ways to make like the characters compelling and like the drama within their lives compelling. Like, I think what you said was probably a really cool idea, because that sounds like a lot of pressure, and we see in every season like pressure gets to him, so that's great.
Yeah, I was thinking because I follow Matty Matheson, and like he makes like these random like just like if you're drunk or high, middle of the night kind of meals, fast kind of meals. Like he made like these peanut butter noodles. Oh, they're so good.
I seen that.
He's like very like I would love for him to have a part in it where he's behind and he's making one of his meals, and they're like, "What the fuck is this, dude? Get out of here!" And he's like, "I'm sorry, man." And he's like, it's like actually one of his like
his real
creations
meals
he does or something. Like it'd be kind of cool because he doesn't cook in the show, but kind of cool if he's just like in.
Yeah.
Right, which is so funny because he's, I mean, actually a chef, and he's like the only person in that team that doesn't really cook. He's like the handyman / janitor, right? But I really liked his speech for whatever it was, the Emmys and stuff. That was really cool, where he like gave a lot of credit. He's like, I grew up in kitchens, like it's hard work. We love kitchens, we love cooking and all the props there, but. Yeah, man, check that out if you haven't seen that speech, because that was cool. And then like Eben Moss Backrack like came up and gave him like the biggest kiss, and I was like, oh my god, that was wild. Pretty hot. All right, what do we got next?
X-Men 97.
We got X-Men 97. It's coming out tomorrow, but technically tonight, right?
I think it's supposed to be Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Oh.
So that would be tomorrow.
Guys. Tune in tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, though, you
should have seen.
Yeah, hopefully. But man, crazy we're here. We also on social media posted this thing where I got to go back and, look through all of the things we've done, and talking to Larry Houston, who was the showrunner for the original animated series. It's just like, it's crazy that it's here. It's crazy the reception it's getting. All of the big news publication and reviewers that have seen it are like, we knew the nostalgia was going to get us, but we didn't think it was going to actually be so good and compelling too. And it's like hitting on every level. They're like, the nostalgia is there for sure. The story, the characters, and where we catch up with them is there, and then the action's there too. And it's like, oh my god, I'm so excited about this. Obviously, I got my jacket on. This might be one of the things I'm most hyped about all year, besides maybe like Deadpool and Wolverine. But I mean, again, they're just like, that's just another X-Men thing. So I don't know, where does this rank in your guys' rankings for hype level? Like, I don't know. What do you think about? Like, do you even care? I don't know. I guess I haven't asked that question.
No, for sure. I think what's cool is like it's not just like they're bringing X-Men back. Like we had an X-Men Evolution that was like probably the next X-Men we got after the 97 that we grew up watching, and that's cool. But it's like it's never been like we're continuing the one that everyone loves, and it's probably for them too. They assume everyone's excited. Got to be exciting to hear like, wow, people are like really losing their minds over this. Like, I'm glad we did this. Like, I feel like it's bigger than they thought it was gonna be. I would agree with that. Yeah, but I'm excited for it. It's pretty cool because it's tied to nostalgia, and it's like really similar art and stuff. It's like but we can better. Of course wake up and watch cartoons now and like pretend we're like doing the Saturday morning cartoons, but it's like we get to do that again. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, it's like the most nostalgia ever.
You don't actually do that these days anymore.
I gotta watch it on Saturday.
Mom, shut the door. I think going off of what Scott kind of was talking about is like we do rarely have IP come back in its originality, just kind of update it a little bit and take off exactly where it left off. And I think that's one of the most intriguing things, is because you would have had to have watched it then, appreciated it, been like, oh man, why aren't they making more of these? And then grown up, paid taxes, quit jobs, do all the things, and then
got a job.
got a job, and then made dinner, and then you hear about it, and you're like, oh wow, they're taking off right from where it left off. And I think that to me sparks the most amount of excitement. It's something that you wished would have happened, and knowing that you can't really go in the past and you really have no control over it, and all of a sudden it's just come back. That brings a lot of joy into my mind. So it's going to be very wonderful to see something as precious as that continue on and affect people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah,
I
agree.
100%, man. Yeah, God, I can't wait for tomorrow night. I'm so excited.
You got your lotion and tissues?
Yes.
Sick.
Yep. But I'm gonna trade those out. I'm gonna get a bowl of, let me see, Lucky Charms.
Oh,
I'm gonna find my
With
Thomas
lotion?
Tank Engine. Yeah, trading them out.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna eat
I'm still
my
stuck
lotion.
on the lotion, sorry.
Yeah,
the Jergens.
I'm gonna squeeze it all in my hand.
Oh,
And I'm not
sick.
You say Thomas the Tank Engine?
Yeah, jerk it to Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh wow. You mean?
Hey, we all have our thing, right?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Oh man,
shit.
yeah, it's crazy. I think you guys have also heard like the showrunner for this show too got fired. We don't really have any information about it. I don't know if we'll have anything while the show is dropping, but I'm just curious about it, and I think when we know more about it, we'll probably talk about it again sometime on the show. But I don't really have anything to say because there's no other information besides like he got fired the week before, and that's it.
And it's smart for them to not say anything because it would hurt the show. It's like remember when DC was announcing the shows and then Swamp Thing came out, and then we all found out it immediately got canceled after the episode 1, and everyone's like, I'm not gonna watch it now. Yeah, so no matter how good the show was, no one's gonna watch it. So it makes sense. We'll probably hear more later, but they probably want people to check out the show first and not get stuck in the drama.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yep, 100%. All right, we're into reviews now, and right off the bat, Scott, you watched something. Kind of, I don't know if it's one of your favorite comedians, but he's definitely one of mine. Andrew Santino is in it, along with John Cena.
Yep.
Who's some of the other guys? Who's the main guy? Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
Oh,
the
yeah.
handsome guy.
And then they have another friend, Jermaine Fowler, who's also a comedian.
Is he a comedian or is he? I thought no, I just wasn't sure what he was. Like, I was like, man, is he like a TikToker or YouTube guy?
No, yeah,
because
does
he actually do stand up?
I think he does. I'm honestly not too familiar with him, but I was watching the Bad Friends where they had them on. Bad Friends is Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, and they interviewed John Cena, Zac Efron, and Jermaine Fowler. And Bobby's like, oh, like Bobby and Jermaine's like, oh yeah, I've known him for years, kind of thing. So like, I assume he like is just like an LA, or not just, but he's an LA comic, goes to the store and all that stuff. Just, we haven't really seen him, or he hasn't, so could be like one of his first big breaks too. It's cool to see comedians that we haven't heard of in these kind of roles.
For sure.
But
so what did you think about it overall? Did the comedy land for you? Like, tell us what you thought.
I think
about the movie.
Honestly, it's a really silly movie. So there are some jokes that don't land. I feel like there's certain things like I really like Andrew Santino. I feel like certain things didn't land as hard as I think it could have. I don't know if it was the writing. Because I've seen him in Dave, and he's like, there's things he doesn't have that's so funny, and it's like a more serious line or something, and he's just like the way he's saying it. So,
right.
But overall,
even just in his normal conversation on the podcast, like the dude's hilarious.
The dude's hilarious. Yeah, he's like master of improv. This dude. But it was like his character kind of seemed more generic, which was a little bit of a bummer, but cool to see him in it. But overall, I thought it's a fun premise. Premise of the movie is like Zac Efron, Andrew Santino, and Jermaine Fowler. They're three friends. They do this prank when they're younger. It goes south. They pin it on this kid that doesn't exist called Ricky Stanicky. They get away with it, and they're like, "Whoa, we just got the golden ticket. We can do anything we want and just blame this kid no one knows." And then throughout life, growing up, they just blame this kid who eventually becomes their best friend, and it gets them out of things. They're like, in the movie, you see like they're literally like, Ricky's got cancer. It's a shame, man. Like, I wish I could be there for him. Like, you should go. The wives are like, you should go. And he's like, I can't do that. You need me. Go. You need to go. Like, and then they all like, "Fuck yeah, we got away with it," and they're going to see like
going
the
to
World
Atlantic
Series
City,
or like
baby.
they're like I think they're going to Atlantic City that time, right? They go to all these like events that they normally wouldn't be able to go to, and then they get into a situation where they have to prove that Ricky Stanicky is a real person. And throughout the like mayhem, they meet John Cena, who is like a I don't know, it's so ridiculous. He's like a musician who performs. He's like a Weird Al, but he replaces all the parodies like dicks and like
and jacking off.
It's kind of really stupid, but
Yeah, what
kind
you
of a
guys
funny
think? How
scene.
I'll react to X-Men '97?
Yeah, exactly. Lots of lotion, lots of good times.
Yep.
And
that was
yeah.
honestly one of the more funny parts about the movie to me.
That
Where he
was.
was on stage and he's like doing Britney Spears and he's doing.
That's what was funny too, because he has like a different costume for each person, and it's funny seeing John Cena. Like I like John Cena, and I think he's found like what makes him funny, and like how to be funny, or like for him, because he's like such a kind of awkwardly giant dude,
Buff dude.
like
Yeah.
he's like the Hulk, and like him dressing up and like him being silly but committing like 100% to what he's doing is like hilarious. And like at the end of all his like songs, it was funny seeing him. He didn't even sing the "Hit Me Baby One More Time," but he was singing that because he just comes out in that music video outfit and
the
just like
pigtails
that's
and the short skirt and everything.
Yeah, it's just so funny. And then he's climbing out a window in his heels and stuff. And then he's a trained actor in this movie. And then he has to become their best friend at like some event, and like he's just like over the top, and they're like, I don't know where this guy's going with this character. He's going off book, and like he's kind of a genius with improv. And it's really silly movie. If you feel like watching like kind of a dumb comedy, I'd say check it out. It's a fun movie. That's what I thought.
Where can the viewers and listeners watch it on? What platform?
Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta give it another rewatch. From what I saw of it, there were some funny moments for sure. And I just seeing John Cena you're right, he commits. Whatever the joke is, the dude is like, and that does make it better. I think still one of his most funny characters to me is the Peacemaker.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because everything he says, he's saying the most outrageous stuff, but he like believes it.
Yep.
You're like, dude, all right. But he kind of has some of that in this movie too, so I do love that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? We got Invincible Part 2 came back with episode 5. Man, I thought this was a really strong episode.
Yep.
Also on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, what'd you guys think? I thought it was awesome because I was like, how does Mark move forward with this? His dad got captured. He found out he has a half brother. Yeah. One thing I will say that I kind of knew was going to happen, but I was like, how is this going to work? Was that he would have to take the brother back with him. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have to take the brother back with him. And I'm like, they do that. But the mom having to deal with that is crazy. And also, like, I didn't realize he was gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, all of his friends and everything back there. There's just a lot of shit that he has to, like, deal with. Like, if the road's never easy for Invincible.
Yeah.
Like, he always has some shit that he has to, like, deal with. I don't know. That just seems really unfair. But really good episode all around.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I really enjoyed because when the season left off last time, they gave us that Adam Eve kind of short, and it kind of dived deeper into her character and really led us on kind of a tangent. But to see it come back and to see the dire need of all of these heroes coming together again for kind of this larger plot, in a kind of in a cool situation.
The poop?
Yeah, I kind of had a little beep, and it was just cool to see kind of everything kind of come together and pick right off. It captivated you with not only the action but the dialogue and the drama. It just continues to amaze in terms of how the character development is still kind of going. Even though you have these established characters that you either love or hate, but it seems as if you're growing to either hate them or love them more, or in the opposite. So that's really been really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. I'm invested in all the characters, not just Mark.
Yep.
And like not just Mark the mom and like dad, like even the side characters. I'm invested in I'm drawing a blank at his name, but he's the dude who, spoiler alert, who just recently found out he was a cyborg, and like he's like questioning like I don't remember me dying in that accident, but I did. And like I'm invested in that storyline.
He's like the agent guy to what is the other guy's name too who keeps sending them on missions?
Scarface.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget.
But yeah, his like associate. And like it was like a throwaway situation because you see in that moment like he explodes trying to take out I think Omni-Man, and then he like sacrifices himself, and you're like, oh wait, he's just back, and they never explain it, and then all of a sudden in this episode it's like they explain it, and he has to deal with the fact that he didn't know he died. You're like, oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm glad we're bringing that back. Like that's just like such a crazy Robert Kirkman move. I feel like.
Yeah.
Where you're like, that was a big deal. Wait, that wasn't. That was like this hanging thread, and now it comes back in a big bad way. That was another crazy part. I feel like in this episode,
for sure. And I do like the characters you have are kind of like nods to like the Justice League DC characters. You know, we got the Martian. We kind of got a Starro thing going on in this with those creatures that can like can't take over the aliens, but they can take over humans.
Yeah, the squid aliens,
the squid things,
and it's or whatever.
Squid aliens.
And then there's like nice, like I mean, and then like they throw humor in there. Like the Martian guy is like really weird. Talks about like he's supposed to be giving them a heads up, and he gives them a heads up like a second before it happens. You're like, you fucking idiot. It's just kind of funny, and you're like stressed. You're like, I don't know how they're gonna survive now. But it was cool too to see like. In this one, most of the team had to go into space, and they left Rex, Katie, and
multiple girl, or is that Katie?
Yeah,
Katie's multiple girl. Yeah, multiple girl, and then the one that can shrink, pretty much like Ant-Man, the Wasp situation.
Yeah,
and there's like we're gonna have a chill night, and
order pizza.
That goes to shit. And in space they're going to shit, and it's like it really leaves you on a cliffhanger. I was like, part of me was like, I kind of wish I skipped this week and watched like just got the 2-parter because. Holy shit! Did I want to know what happened next? It got, and you know what's, and I know I care about the show when I'm getting the same vibes as like Game of Thrones. When shit starts going south for like multiple girl and stuff, I was like, oh no, and then like things are going bad. I'm like, oh, it felt like when the Mountain was like killing the Viper or whatever, like smashed his head in. I was like, oh my god, like these are cartoon characters, but I'm like. I'm like getting stressed.
100%. She keeps trying to teleport and he keeps getting her, and I was just like, oh my god, she's down to her last one. Yeah, I was like, this is going south so fast. And even the fact that I cared about Rex Splode. Because I don't like I'm like, God, I hate Rex Splode. He's such a douche. But in this one, is this the one where he like also
has a heart to heart with Adam Eve?
Yeah, with Adam Eve, exactly. And he's like, oh, he's not that terrible of a guy. And then you just start liking him, and then he almost starts dying, and you're like, holy shit, this show is good. Because I was like, there's been times during the show where I was like, man, I hope he gets killed. And then when it almost comes down to it, I'm like, dude, you better escape.
You
better make
you know what? I think because I guess it's a good choice too, because you're right there with him when he's freaking out. He's like, no. You're like, he knows he's gonna die. Like you're almost 100% sure he's gonna die, and you're like, I don't like this. Like it's just nuts. Even when the I forget her name,
tiny
Oh,
girl,
goes in and he's like, she doesn't stay small, and then she tries to grow, and then
he muscles his body
guy
to squish her, like,
and just like eats her, and she dies too. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Like gosh, I know.
But definitely a bunch of spoilers. But oh man, the anxiety and like such a good show.
Thanks, Robert Kirkman.
It is. I know. It's interesting. Like, how do you guys feel about it being split into 2 parts? Because, okay, we got episode 5 is done. Now we know we're only getting 3 more episodes. Like, that just doesn't feel like enough. Like, I wish that this show didn't get split into 2 or had, like, 2 extra episodes. Like, I want 10.
I know. Because the thing is, like, we already know what's, like, there's so much more to happen. Like, Alan wakes up at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And he's stronger now.
Right. We find.
And, you know, he's trying to he's friends with Mark, so like you know there's gonna be something there, like they're gonna team up, and I'm assuming because the brother's growing up quick, so I'm dreaming at one point to be Alan, Mark, the brother,
And that good
and then
Viltrumite.
maybe they get the dad back,
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
just tearing up other Viltrumites. Maybe they,
Oof.
you know, like that'd be sick. I don't even, but I don't know how much of that we're gonna get this season, and the way things
Yeah.
just take fucking curves. I don't even know if that's gonna happen. Like anything could happen. His brother could die at any moment.
Yeah,
and
that's
then I'd be
true.
like, oh,
Nobody's
shit.
off limits. I think
Yeah.
you bring up a good point, but look how much intrigue and look how much want it brings out of its viewers. Like, I want to see another season. I want to see all these things. I want to keep doing the things. And what other show, aside from maybe like Game of Thrones or Avatar,
Boys.
The Boys, are we really like, give us more? And,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes people just put out the characters and the IP and the stories, and they're just like, here it is. But this one is just like, we're salivating over it, and that's special.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that. And it's like I could pick up the comics. The interesting thing is the comic for it is done. Like the story's
Mhm.
concluded. Like there's a finite ending. Not like, you know, again, you're talking about IP. There's, you know, so many shows where they just drag it on forever. And you're like, man, I really should have ended a season ago or 2 seasons ago and it would still been good, you know?
Mhm.
But this one has a finite ending. And I don't want to read the comic. Like, I know that's bad. Like, it's probably the
Yeah.
only thing I could say that for. Because, like, I just want to just experience it and not know what's going to happen next. And
Yeah,
fuck,
I
it
want to
just-
read it when it's all done. And
Yeah,
I've heard
yeah.
it's like it takes its own maybe little differences here and there, but I think overall they're probably gonna like the main through line. But yeah, I want to read the comic as a let's go through the show again sort of situation. I don't want to get spoiled.
Totally.
I want to get spoiled, but I don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, yeah, man, that was Invincible part 2 of season 2. We're back with episode 5, and we'll have episode 6 next week. We can't wait. All right. Next, we have Shogun, and I only watched up to episode 4. Where did you? I wasn't able to watch episode 5 yet, but yeah, feel free to talk about it if you want.
So I did watch I watched all the episodes, and then we're currently on episode 5. So in episode 4, you're kind of left off with Blackstone, and he's kind of training the men, and cannons are involved, and Toranaga's son kind of is influenced to kind of start a war in ways of such. And then in this new episode, it's kind of the backlash of all of that took place.
Yeah, okay. Like, yeah, let's dive into episode 4 a little bit more, because I feel like we talked about this earlier today, Drake, where this show is so crazy because every episode continues to get better and better.
Yeah.
It's literally like a bunch of dominoes that starts off really small, and by the end of it, it's like, you know, Stonehenge. So like, man, I've been so impressed by how this show continuously amps up the tension, amps up the drama, makes you care more about the characters. And then like we mentioned Game of Thrones a bunch of times tonight, and I think this is the closest thing we've seen to Game of Thrones because nobody feels safe. Everything can happen at like the flip of a switch. And just, the way episode 4 ends was like, oh, fuck, did not see that coming.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was there, it was hinted at, but you're like, damn, he really went there with it, Tornaga's-san. I'm like, holy shit.
It is the acting is great, scenes are great, you know, the costuming is great, but the thing that I think shines most, because a lot of individuals who have watched the original series and read the book will say that the original series is more on the Anglo-Saxon side, whereas this is kind of a little bit more in the in-between. But episode 4 and 5 really deepen into the lack of understanding that Blackstone has of the culture of Japan at the time. And you really get to deep dive into how the feudal system, Bushido, the Japanese culture, the idea of the Eightfold Wall comes into play into episode 5.
Okay, what was the definition of that? Like, how did that come into play for episode 4? Because that was the title of episode 4, right?
Yes.
The Eightfold Wall?
Yes.
Like, what did that mean?
So the Eightfold Wall is kind of an idea. It's you could think of it as like almost like a coping mechanism to compartmentalize. also to a framework of how Japan's like internal nationalism kind of was as well too, because they were cut off from Europeans for a long time, and even in watching things like The Last Samurai, there was very few amounts of influence that they wanted to have up until a point where then it kind of overflowed and kind of changed Japan as a whole. And so the idea of these are the rules, this is how we live our lives. Mariko says it really great. You can have purpose. Life and death are the same. You can have purpose and meaning in both, right? Whereas Blackstone comes in from a country who views freedom, like freedom. At episode 5, Mariko says something very poignant. She goes, freedom. Blackstone is like, don't you want to be free from this prison? And Mariko's like, you are the one who is imprisoned, because if all you value is freedom, then you will never be free from yourself. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
That kind of stuff gets super deep because Blackstone is kind of on the backdrop being like, why do you let people treat you like this? And why do you do this and that and this? And Mariko has to kind of continues to go over that. These are our customs. Like, I am a person who I am, but quote unquote behind the eightfold wall, right? I can be this person in this society, but that doesn't take away from me. I will always continue to be me, just because what I do, or what I give or what I don't give, right, will always be my choice, even though it may not seem like that to an outsider. So it's, man, the Japanese culture goes super deep into it. And that's, to build off of what you were saying earlier, it always gets better. It always gets better, and you're continuously learning about all of these kind of concepts as well too.
Yeah, and through the concepts, like, you learn about the characters too. Like, Blackstone's kind of like a proxy for, I think we probably have a little bit more knowledge than like the general public on this stuff. But like, if you don't know anything about Japanese culture, what you just explained, and also like Blackstone being like, well, why don't you guys do this or why don't you do that? And her being like, that's asinine or that's stupid. That's like, that's the way you look at it. We don't look at it that way. That's, whatever. I think that's like a really interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Because so much of like our culture, our lives, is based, or like the way we think is based on our culture and like the people we're around, or like whatever. It could be like our politics, what we watch, whatever, right? Or like our friends, family. But this shows you like, just because you're surrounded by it doesn't mean it's the right way to think. And shit like that always tickles my fancy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I love like always kind of questioning the way I'm thinking about things. It's probably one of the things that's most annoying to my own self. But like, I do kind of love that concept. And I think this show really messes with those ideas really well and like plays with it. And then it's like, oh yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of Blackstone, but I feel like he's kind of growing on me as he opens up to the culture. Maybe, to use a generic example or like reference, like The Last Samurai. Like, you don't really like Tom Cruise in the beginning, but by the end of it, you're like, he gets it. He's like one of them. It's like Blackstone is like that, but it's not as cheesy in a way as The Last Samurai was.
Yeah, it's slightly more to that point. When in The Last Samurai, you never really see Tom Cruise's character kind of share his culture with the Japanese people that he's with in that movie. Whereas in episode 5, you're going to get to see a little bit more of Blackstone trying to live in that culture and share. And you're going to get to see how the Japanese culture differs from what Blackstone is willing to share, and how different these two like ideas are. And then you're going to really get to see how Blackstone just like, I don't understand. Everything is going above my head. Yeah, episode 5 gets better. It leaves you on a cliffhanger, both figuratively and literally. And what it's bringing forward, because we know that Toranaga and the council are kind of going to war and go head to head, essentially. You see that building, and then it also leaves you on, well, after this episode, how is that going to take place? So, yeah, episode 5 is nice.
I think that's the point in episode 4 where you see them coming up off the boat and you see the army and they're like, oh, all these people are loyal to Toranaga. So you see like he has an army too.
Oh yeah.
And like I liked that moment, and you see how much respect he has and everything. And like what kind of leader is he? He bows to all of them too. I'm like, fuck, that's just like Toranaga's the man. Like, why can't he lead me? You know? Yeah, he's this dude. I just love this show more and more and more. But yeah, Scott, where are you at with everything?
Man, I'm like still pretty early on. I'm ashamed.
Okay.
It's definitely on my list to catch up on. As the weeks go by, the hours it takes to catch up, you're like, okay, I don't have that much time this week, but then
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to catch up this week. But
so like
I do want to
episode
watch
2 or episode 1?
I watched episode 1.
Okay.
It's really good, but
Yeah.
I'm on 2 now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but the one thing I will say about this show, though, like I can't talk enough good things about the show.
Yeah.
But like you gotta pay attention. It's not one of those shows you can just like put on the background and maybe you're gonna catch, because one, I mean, I have to read mostly everything. There's like words I know. It's like, oh, I know that word. Oh, I know that word. But like, there's a lot of things where you have to pay attention, and the way they deliver the lines too, like there's so much nuance in there. It's like you have to capture it. So if you're like, I'm just gonna put it on and not really focus, like you're not only doing the show a disservice, like you're doing yourself a disservice too.
Yeah.
So I could say like it is not one of those shows. Like if you had a long day at work, it might be a little bit tough, but if you get some energy back, you take a nap, take a 5-hour energy and you can pay attention, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And that's the other positive. The more I have banked, the better that marathons. When I finally get some time.
Yeah.
So
binge boy.
You also too, if you enjoy Mariko as a character, she unveils a little bit more of her past history in episode 5, and I could make a strong argument that Mariko is the focal point of the entire show.
Dude, I'm so happy you said that, because the more I watch, I kind of watched episode 4 like a few times in like different spots, and I was like, man, she's really an important character.
Bruh.
She's bringing in like the English side, even though they're speaking Portuguese, right? But then like she's also telling us as the audience what the Japanese culture is about, how they think about things. She's the conduit between the High Lord Toranaga of this prefecture, and then again our reference with Blackstone. So I was like, man, she's so good, and she does so many like really good subtle things with her acting.
Bruh.
Like just little faces she makes and the way she delivers lines. I'm like, they scored on her. She was 10 out of 10 casting. Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah, she should be up for an Emmy for sure, in just terms of her performance and also her dual linguistship and her portrayal of this character and how much depth she has. Man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Phenomenal. Dude, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's Shogun. We'll hopefully you can catch up next week. We'll try not to spoil too much, we'll say from episode 5 and 6 next week, but we'll have to see where you're at, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We got last few things and then we'll close it out. Do you guys briefly want to talk about Spaceman and what was the other thing?
Oh, Damsel
Damsel.
Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it away,
so
guys.
Will you say Spaceman first?
Yeah. Spaceman.
Well, do your pitch. I think you have a good quick description, and then we can kind of go back and forth on it.
Yeah. So Spaceman is what is it called?
Great pitch.
What's
this pitch starting?
Drake told me.
Great.
Yeah.
Drake told me that it's like Interstellar.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's like.
But
I don't remember what I said to you.
Great pitch, dude.
It's like
so check it out. It's on Netflix.
What did I say? It's like Interstellar, but like less serious or more.
So.
Scott, take it away on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, it is there's definitely Interstellar vibes in it. It stars Paul Dano and Adam Sandler.
Book 'em, Dano.
Adam Sandler's a spaceman, and Paul Dano's a voice of a spider that's pretty creepy looking throughout the whole movie.
Yep.
Huge arachnid. He's about this big.
Oh wow, bambucha.
Maybe bigger actually. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But at one point, a couple times they hug.
Yeah, yeah. It looks comfy. It looks
he
cute.
hugs this big spider. But throughout the whole movie, I didn't trust the spider. He ended up being a pretty good.
Yeah.
But it did have Interstellar kind of vibes. It had to do with like time and the way you perceive things in your life and
Yeah.
what's important and stuff like that. But it was cool. It was cool to see Adam Sandler in a serious role.
So, like, along the lines of like Uncut Gems, or are we talking like Spanglish?
I don't think it was better
or
than
just
both of those movies.
Yeah, I think if
Oh, the
you had
movie
to rate
wasn't-
him, I think this was not as good. It's just because it's really serious and he's just kind of alone up there. He's not as it's not as like
Engaging?
engaging
Yeah.
to see as you would watch like a Tom Hanks or a Matt Damon.
Yeah.
You know, like Tom Hanks on an island, watch that all day. Matt Damon, The Martian,
Yeah.
watch that all day. He did a good job, Adam Sandler, but
Sure.
it was just very Adam Sandler. Like not that he's being goofy, but it's seems like maybe he'll get better, but it's like it seems like it's like his intro into that type of drama.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will get better, but it wasn't a bad movie
No.
though. It just wasn't like Matt Damon.
Yeah, it was Adam Sandler reflecting or potentially being forced to reflect on his relationship with his wife who's on Earth, who's which it's dwindled because he's on this space mission that's a part of Czechoslovakia, but then they're also trying to race Korea to this formation outside of the or inside of the
You
solar
lost me.
system. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like all
Exactly.
the other details that are like what he's trying to get
Ambiguous.
to, the purple cloud,
Yep.
what it means, it's just kind of like, it's fluff.
It's
The real thing is just like him and his wife and Paul Dano's his therapist, basically.
Yeah.
And he's just like this being that's old as time almost. And he was just drawn to Adam Sandler's loneliness.
Yeah.
And was intrigued
And
by him.
you could
Yeah.
make the argument that it's like, is it him reflecting because he's alone, and is he hallucinating, and is this just his inner monologue, or is it real? Is the spider Paul Dano real, and that's actually helping him? You could make the argument that that's kind of where that it borders. But
you never get the answer. They don't.
You-
they
Not
don't
really,
give you,
because
like,
he
a
kind of
definitive-
comes in and out of the ship, and I don't know how he does it.
yeah,
Oh, the spider.
spider, yeah.
The spider.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a point where he's like, "I'm leaving now. I have to go," and then turns the corner, and then he's outside the ship, and I'm like, "Did you go through the wall?"
Yeah, like, how the fuck-
I don't know what happened.
I mean, spiders can
I didn't hear
squeeze
an
through small
airlock.
holes, but it's
It's a big
airtight.
spider.
Yeah, it's a big ass spider,
So-
dude.
And it's a vehicle in space. There shouldn't be any holes.
Yeah.
So you're like,
right.
I don't know what's
right.
going on.
Yeah,
But-
if your spaceship has a hole in it,
Yeah.
it's probably not a good
You're
spaceship.
fucked.
And they make it a point in the beginning of the movie. They're like, oh, the cameras were down.
Yeah.
There's all these things that like Mission Control can't view. They can't see the spider. He can't ask them like, hey, do you see this thing?
Yeah.
Because at one point he asks, and they're like, sorry, the cameras are down even in that room where that spider is, or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of up there with him. But it wasn't bad. So it's a drama.
It's different.
What would you give it out of 5 stars?
2.5,
Dang.
3.
Okay.
Par at best, I think. I mean, it's not Uncut Gems.
Wait, out of 5?
Yeah, out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah, out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was first time I was like out of 10. I was like, dude, Ghost Rider.
Like, wow. Fuck.
Like,
Yeah, it was Madam Web. Jeez.
Ooh.
holy
The
Jesus.
top grossing movie of 2024? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was like kind of like average. Like if it was out of 10, it'd be like I was gonna say like 6.5
Yeah.
or something.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
6.5,
So
7.
3.
But
so 3.
just I like Adam Sandler, and I want to like I want to see him do more serious roles.
Yeah.
I like Paul Dano. It was cool. I do like space sci-fi movies, so it was kind of cool. Like throughout the movie, like Drake was saying, you're questioning: is this real? Is it not real? So there is that. I thought maybe the spider was feeding off him and his like memories, and like in the end, it was gonna turn dark, and it's like,
I suck my blood.
yeah, like oh, I got all your memories. But it was weird too when the spider talks. You could see his little mouth moving, like
Oh, yeah.
it's okay. And I'm like, that's fucking weird.
That's weird.
And his eyes, he never blinked, and it was fucking creepy, dude.
Wow.
He was just like, oh yeah, maybe it was your fault.
That's very
Wait.
Paul
Yeah,
Dano,
yeah.
though.
That's
Very Paul
true,
Dano.
yeah.
He really did fit that spider. Yeah, so great voice acting in that part.
Oh,
But if you have time, check it out. If you enjoy dramas and
yeah.
you watch all the dramas you want to watch, and you want to watch one more,
Yeah.
check it out.
Plus one drama.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay,
Now-
so
Damsel.
tell us about
Let's check out this
Damsel.
comedy called Damsel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this comedy fantasy So Damsel is Millie Bobby Brown. That's reprising what you would consider a stereotypical role as a princess in sort of this fairy tale world, but it turns itself on its head when we find out that who she's marrying is essentially a part of a, I guess, cabal that's trying to keep up the facade of this beautiful city and empire or kingdom. But in reality, what they're doing is they're serving a dragon to which they've created this negative situation. The royal family.
Yeah.
So
and by the end of the
they
movie,
were
they
feeding
explain
the dragon.
exactly,
Yeah.
and they explain why.
Yes.
And everything. But and overall, like for a fantasy adventure movie, and like of course it's like for a specific like age group as well,
Yep.
like and all that. Like it's not a bad movie.
No.
It's just sometimes, even if it's fantasy, there's bits in these movies where you're like, we got to get a little realistic about just the idea of if you're trying to hide from something,
Bruh.
then you don't want to get eaten.
Bruh.
Maybe like don't yell.
This is Scott and I's
Don't
number
scream.
one pet peeve. This character in this movie, whenever she was hurt and she moved, she would scream. We're in a cave, it echoes, and the dragon has super hearing, right? Every time she exerts energy, she's grunting.
It's like,
Every time she's just things you would not do in a cave when you know there's a monster that can hear you, right? Like if she was in the descent, she would have died already.
Oh, for sure. There's literally a part where she's hiding from the dragon, and the dragon comes like like scary movie stuff. Here's the wall. She's here, right?
Swinging
She's in
around.
front of the wall.
Yeah.
Dragon comes by. She's quiet. As soon as the dragon goes away, she goes,
It's like, what the fuck, dude?
And you're like, you stupid. You're dead now.
You're dead.
What are you doing?
You're
Shut
dead,
your
dude.
mouth.
It was like the direction from the director was like, hey, you know what? Just make noise. Just make a bunch of noise. Louder. Yeah.
He's away. Scream.
Yeah.
Let
I
out
was
all
really
your
thinking
pain
that.
and anxiety.
Yeah.
I was like, is the director watching these?
Don't.
Like, great take.
Great
Yeah.
take.
Yeah,
I love that you yelled extra loud there.
Makes so much sense. Really brings volume to the character, literally. Things that were good about it was that it was a very atypical idea of fairy tales as a whole. You do see some character development with the stepmom, and at the end, Millie Bobby Brown ends up calling her mother. You do see the bones of a really cool story. Like if it was a dark fairy tale Brothers Grimm type situation, it would have been super sick. But not to say that it wasn't, but the way that it went was like all of a sudden, and Scott says this the best, all of a sudden she gets out of this thing and she's like, cool, I'm gonna take I just know all the things about the thing, and I'm gonna take revenge, and I'm just gonna be badass when I've never shown that I'm badass, and I'm just gonna dominate. Yeah, Scott knows what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
And then she
Yeah, for sure.
does.
Yeah.
There's a
She
part
just all
where
of
she
a
gets.
sudden
There's a
goes
part where
John
she
Wick.
actually gets out of the cave. She's like, I made it. And then they're like, your sister's in there. She's like, I'm gonna go back in there. Like, and she like goes back in the cave. And then she's just like a badass outside. Yeah, it was just like it's all the stuff that you want. You're like, yeah, I want the character to be a badass now, but like nothing told us that she was ever capable of this, or like she had the knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like even if as much as you want to be able to do stuff,
Mhm.
sometimes if you don't have training or you never tried it before, there's no way you can succeed at it 100% every time.
Yeah,
Like she
Yeah.
had the best string of luck in a crazy situation.
For
it seemed
sure.
Like, but for a fantasy movie, so it is a fun movie.
Yeah.
It was just like I think the biggest thing that stood out though, I was like, she's making too much goddamn noise. Like, stop!
That's-
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and once that thought gets in your head, there's no way it could get out. You know?
Yeah,
It's just
because
like, why? Why does she keep doing that?
yeah.
Like, she's
yeah,
trying to
literally,
kill
I'm like,
herself?
she did it again. She did it again.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on.
You're doing that the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which can be fun if you know that's what's gonna happen. Now you can just laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It'd be a fun drinking
definitely
game.
check it out though.
Yeah.
If you're into that.
It's something that I think it works for Millie Bobby Brown, and I think what she's trying to do as like an actress and potentially producer, and what she's putting out, like it works, and it's definitely
Mhm.
on brand. I just think there's more depth that could be pulled out of there, and maybe they don't have the availability, or maybe other things are happening, et cetera, et cetera. But like Scott said, it's something that is worth a watch because it is very atypical from what we see in that genre. And it does have some very great ideas and some good points within the movie that kind of make it good. At the same point in time, stop making so much noise in the cave. Stop making so much noise in the cave.
Don't.
Right on.
Shh.
All right.
Like,
well,
if she's with me, I'm ditching.
Yeah, for 100%.
you throw her back down into another cave or off
like,
another cliff.
You've done this yourself. This is part
Yeah. You do this to yourself.
Yeah.
Right on, guys. Well, yeah, a lot of great stuff that came out over last week. And coming up into this week too. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this one. There's just so much good stuff out right now. I'm just excited for tomorrow and for the rest of this week. I haven't even yet been able to go to Dune 2. That's still super high on my list. We didn't even get into Masters of Air, which I think we'll have to talk about next week as well. But yeah, man, it's been fantastic. Any final words? Yeah, closing thoughts. Closing words, final thoughts? Let's go with that.
Closing thoughts, final words, or final closing thought words would be check stuff out. You never know when things are going to be good, and even if you do find a little bit something that kind of annoys you, it's making you feel something, and you need to be feeling something. You're alive. Do it.
I like it. Damn, Mariko.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, sometimes I watch movies and like Uncut Gems, and you're uncomfortable with the whole movie,
Fuck.
but you're like, that was an experience.
Yeah.
I recommend it. Live like, search for that, get it in your body.
Yes. Consent.
Made it weird. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, and hope you guys are all doing great. And thanks for
sticking with us.
The Joystick Show.
If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, we'd really appreciate a follow, subscribe, and a review. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us at JoyStickShow Joystick Show on Twitter and Instagram, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you feel like submitting topics or questions to be discussed on future episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. As always, thank you, peace out, and make it a great rest of your week.